I'm just going to talk very briefly about a case study I've been working on with one of my undergraduate students as a co-researcher, and really as a demonstration of how you can use the EAT framework at the level of a single assessment within a unit. So this is mainly the work of Kaiser Ilmari. Last year I introduced a new assignment for our students where they had to create a graphical abstract. So these are year one biological science students. So I gave them a range of articles that they could choose from. So again, Steve was talking about promoting student agency and engagement with assessment. So we know that students tend to work much harder and engage when they're studying something they particularly like. So there's a range of topics here. And these are news and views articles. So they're quite simple papers that are about 2 pages long. And the students were given lots of instructions. You don't need to read all of this, but essentially they have to do a 3-page report. The first page is a written summary, so summarizing the research in 500 words in 3 paragraphs. And there's some instructions there to kind of direct what we're expecting of them. The second page should then be an infographic. So we want them to design an image that represents the techniques that were used and the main findings of the paper. And they're encouraged to use BioRender, which is a free piece of software for students. So if you haven't come across that before, it might be a tool worth looking at, where they can use kind of pre-designed scientific icons to make their own figures. And then the last page is a reference list, just to have a look at their referencing skills and give them comments on where they're sourcing their information. So the way I've been working with final year undergraduates as co-researchers is to, so I'm essentially the academic researcher here, and Kaiser in this case was the student researcher. And we worked together to train the student undergraduate researchers to conduct qualitative research that could be purely qualitative or mixed methods. And the student then designs interview questions or runs focus groups to explore a particular topic, and they may well do surveys as well. So this particular intervention was looking at how we could use the EAT framework to try and increase student literacy with this relatively novel assignment. So this is the EAT wheel that Steve was showing you. So I gave a copy of this to my undergraduate project student, so Kaiser, and asked her to use some of these questions and tailor this to the specific assessment that we were running in year one, so that we could evaluate how well the students understand what's expected of them. So this particular case study focused very much on the assessment literacy domain, but as Steve said, they are very interlinked. So Kaiser created this assessment literacy survey. So again, it's very simple. It's 6 questions that are based on the EAT framework. So how do you know what a good abstract looks like, for example? And the students would then rank themselves from 1 to 10. And they were asked to do this before a collaborative learning session and afterwards. And this was a voluntary session they could come along to that was run by final year undergraduate students to help them understand their assignment. So students in this collaborative learning session were given example graphical abstracts. So this is the kind of thing we're expecting them to produce. So again, a 3-page assignment with a written abstract, an infographic and some references. And then they were given the marking criteria, and they were asked to work in small groups to mark these example reports and give feedback to one another. So this is encouraging peer feedback and dialogue with more experienced students. And what they found was that following the intervention, so these graphs show the student scores on the survey before and afterwards. And what she found essentially was that in all of these 6 domains, these 6 questions, there was a significant increase following the collaborative learning session. So we didn't actually get equal numbers because more students participated in the before one because they had to do it on the spot. And then the after one was a few weeks after to see whether they felt their confidence had increased. So this is just a very simple case study to show how you could potentially use the EAT framework at a single assessment level within a unit to support students to work with you as partners in the process to improve assessment literacy and confidence amongst students. We've done several other things looking at qualitative interviews for feedback and things like that, but there wasn't time to present that today, but I'm very happy to talk to people after the session. So I'll stop there, and I don't know whether Steve wants to go for questions or pass on to Andy.